our intro and all the things after this first initial set of music, but I don't know if I mentioned, but Dan has to go, like release a single with the Lumineers and stuff, so we're gonna let him do that. But I'm not gonna talk much more than that. They're just practicing. They're gonna come out for a second. Any questions? Do we have any questions, concerns?
Why are you leaving?
That's a great question. Well, we can talk about that while they're practicing really quickly. Long story short, we're trying to get to a farm. If you've met us, you've known that for 10 years. We've been trying to do that. And so we're not getting to the farm yet, but we're hoping to land somewhere where we can create some income streams that will support that dream later. So, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, appreciate it. Hi guys, come on in, shovel in. But I'm not going to blab anymore because I want to get Dan out here so he can go. All right, hold on.
Whoa.
Hi, hello. So happy to play for one of my favorite artists of all time. Peter said to Paul, you know all those words we wrote are just the rules of the game, and the rules are the first to go. Talking to God is Laurel begging Hardy for a gun. I got a girl in the wall, man, I wonder what it is we've done. Paul said to Peter, you gotta rock yourself a little harder. Pretend the dove from above is a dragon and your feet are on fire. I got a girl in the wall, Paul, the only thing I know to do is to turn up the music and pray that she makes it through. Cause the keys to the kingdom got locked inside the kingdom, and the angels fly around in there and we can't see them. I got a girl in the wall, Paul, I know they can hear me yell. If they can't find a way to help her, they can go to hell. They can't find a way to help her, they can go to hell. If they can't find a way to help her, they can go to hell. Peter said to Paul, you know all those words we wrote, just the rules of the game, and the rules are the first to go. I'm talking to God as Laurel begging Hardy for a gun. I got a girl in the wall, man, I wonder what it is we've done. Paul said to Peter, you gotta rock yourself a little harder. Pretend the dove from above is a dragon and your feet are on fire. I got a girl in the wall, Paul, her eyes are like champagne. Sparkle bubble over in the morning, all you have is rain. Sparkle bubble over in the morning, all you have is rain. Sparkle bubble over in the morning, all you have is rain. Na, na, na.
keep it the same.
We play it in B.
Little one crying as his teeth push through. Little one learning a thing or two. Let's let them go this time, let's let them fall. How you gonna learn to climb up from your crawl? Love for you is so deep and it's wide, but one day you're gonna have to walk away from our side. And the tears are just growing pains. And the tears are just growing pains. Awkward one growing tall. Yeah, one day you're gonna see it all. But for now, love is young. You found someone in your heart, it overflows. But your heart, it doesn't know the most good things in this life, and some things in this world that just don't bend to some greater hope. But hope doesn't hold a flame, just let it go. Heartbreak is just growing pains. Heartbreak is just growing pains. Most times not without pain. It's just growing pains. Everyone we know is gonna pass the torch, gonna cross over the other side. You look down at your hands, breathe deep in your chest, and you know we're all just here along for the ride. And you're lost is just growing pains. And you're lost is just growing pains. Most times not without pain. It's just growing pain. We're just going to stay in the same key for a little while.
It's working. Don't break it. Or whatever.
Do secret songs, just split those up.
Sounds great.
Do you want to? I don't know. You just play.
Opened a book, found a four-leaf clover. I turned the page and there was October. And as I stared into autumn's eyes, I saw death that never dies. And I watched as the leaves were turning, falling into the wind and swirling. And how we break, we mend, we tremble. Well, that's how I found November. Then we spend another day sun it shines, it's resurrecting one more time. And we spend another day, another dawn, another year, another song. Oh, the joys now I remember. I think I'll tell you in a letter of all the love in a budding rose, how flowers come and flowers go, and to the drunkards that dance on tables, one fell off right into April, and to the hour of a child's birth, to the evening of all her searching. And we spend another day, another dawn, another year, another song. I opened a book, found a four-leaf clover. I turned the page and there was October. And as I stared into autumn's eyes, I saw a death that never dies. We haven't played these songs in a little while.
Yeah, it feels so good. My heart's so happy.
Sounds just like 2018.
16.
Dan, want to plug your single real quick?
Oh,
Oh yeah, sure.
very exciting day.
Just today I released a single with the Lumineers, and it's a song I wrote. I got drunk over at their house one night, and Wes's wife Brandy felt lubricated enough to tell me about her idea against Wes's will. So, every time I hear this song, and he was like, but anyway, I had a few glasses of wine, and I was like, sure, let's do it. But that's not the song I'm going to play right now. So they turned it into a Christmas song.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it fits, it works.
Yeah, and by making it a Christmas song, it'll still allows your version to be your version. It's like the subtle change that it needed to be.
And it's going to go platinum because it's a Christmas
That's the Lumineers. Get that Jesus money.
Jesus died on a pagan tree.
Speaking of angels and stuff, this is kind of a Christmas song in its own weird way. Wasn't it written on Christmas?
Yeah, Elephant Revival, we used to travel so much that by the time it came around to the holidays, I was like, this is finally could be my breathing room. One Christmas, I decided to be by myself. And I wrote this song on Christmas Day. Jesus, why am I so connected to Christmas? Jesus. Devils only come to dream of this. For the saints come in with mirth and joy. They sure come in, dance up a storm. They're turning tables, reciting poems. They speak what comes of hearts and tongues. the same old heavy coat. They seek no fortune, seek no fame, just a few wild horses to tame. Hearts in town, hearts in town. For these hearts, these dreams, waves we weave. These hearts, these dreams, waves we weave. These hearts, these dreams, waves we weave. These hearts, these dreams, waves we For the angels dance here in between the air and that silver moon. Them devils only come to dream. Yes. For the saints come in with mirth and joy. They sure come in, dance up a storm. They're turning tables, reciting poems. They speak what comes of hearts and tongue. Hearts in town, hearts in town. For these hearts, these dreams, waves we weave. These hearts, these dreams, waves we weave. These hearts, these dreams, waves we weave. These hearts, these dreams, waves we
Dana Rodriguez and Bridget Bell. So we're gonna have a short little kind of break. That was our introduction to music and the activities. Get a snack, get a drink, mingle amongst yourselves, and then we'll be right back.
So that I can lock myself in the office and write poetry. So come up here, babe. Say some words.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to keep this really short so that I don't start to fall up here. Okay, so collect myself for a second. This is amazing and incredibly special, and I hold this as a very sacred space. And you all as very sacred people to me and to Lyndsey. So just thank you so much for being here. Colorado would never have been what Colorado is. You know, it's got the mountains, it's got all those things, but this is what gives it the true color. And I am so blessed to have you all. So wherever the journey has led and is going to lead, the person I've become and who Lyndsey is and who we are as a team, so much of that is influenced and inspired by, all of it is influenced and inspired by the people who we are around. And thank you so much for lifting us up so often.
All right.
Love that guy.
Love that guy.
Love that guy.
Me too. All right.
Oh my gosh.
So, oh, there's a puppy. Hi, puppy. I'm gonna read 2 poems right now. There will be more later, but I wanted to give some context for both of these. The first one I'm gonna read, I wrote, gosh, when were we in Hawaii? 2011? 10?
It was 2011. Yeah.
2011. We landed on a permaculture farm in Maui, and when we got there, we looked around at what this farmer was doing with the way he was growing food and the community he had built there, and we're like, this is the answer to all of life's problems. We need to do this. It was like a giant aha moment for both of us, and so that's, I think, the moment when our shared dream was born. The problem was that when we got to Hawaii, we thought we had some leeway before student loans kicked in, and we didn't, and they kicked in, and we ran out of money and had to leave, and the last however many years has been a story of us journeying toward this thing that we have, for better or worse, been following. So this first poem, it's called Creatively, the farm poem, and it's about us discovering the stream but then feeling really stuck and unable to get to it. So, farm poem. Drunk on honey, a bumblebee somersaults inside a squash blossom. Last night, the rain pulled tongues from flowers, so the garden this morning is a circus of mouths poised in various postures of delight. Once the chickens have been fed, the farm will resume its quiet. Mellow hues fusing into a distant Pacific, the shoulders of Lanai, the jagged rise of the West Maui Mountains climb toward a sky that has a pale shade of uncertain, a subtle blue that once felt like possible, now a taunting stretch of what I cannot have. The spiders up at JP's house show no such concern. Strung under a map of the zodiac, they devote themselves to learning the angles of Scorpio, spinning silver into their next meal. But I know what the moth feels. Wings caught in the taut strings of the invisible, it will be devoured on its quest toward the light. At night, I dream the volcanoes rumble, the lip of Haleakala spilling its fires down the ranchlands of Ulapalakua. What mouthfuls of vowels the Hawaiians stretch between their consonants. I suppose it is a way of preserving awe, of tucking the sacred inside the language, but I do not yet speak archipelago. I do not know the syntax of surrender or how to be surrounded by so much impossible space, so these days I spend my time watching bumblebees, somersaulting inside squash blossoms, listening to the farmer string jewels on the décolleté of his violin, wishing that I could feel drunk in this abundance instead of locked against forces that are delaying my forward. Have my dreams hijacked my purpose? When I threw my roots to the ocean, did I not expect she would chew me in her churn, demanding I learn the mechanics of the toss? If we do not soften, we break. So tell me, fruit, how did sweetness ever emerge from the ache of ripening? Cottonmouth is so rude. Like trying to suck on candies up here. So this second poem is an evolution from that first poem. Normally when I'm writing, I'll write something and then think of a half-assed title after that and slap it on, but this one, the title came first. And the title of it is called How to Hold a Dream, an Instruction Manual. And I wrote it, it's hard to explain. A higher Lyndsey wrote it to a lower Lyndsey. Because, as I mentioned before, we are sort of married to this dream, you know, for better or worse, and it is at times felt torturous and like we're doing the wrong thing, and even as I'm looking at all your faces now, I feel my heels digging in and an insane reluctance to leave. But there have just been so many like very clear signs that we would be really stupid to ignore. And I won't go into those stories, but anyway, this is How to Hold a Dream, an instruction manual. Its origin is unclear, but one day you will feel something within you begin to stir. A flurry of ant legs inside the mossy tube of a forgotten heart chamber that has been overgrowing since birth. It might feel at first like agitation, like an irritant lodged inside a place you can't quite reach, and when you try to reach for it, it mysteriously retreats. At night, you might be kept awake as question marks snake through the complex geometries of abstraction, pulling you through a star weave of fractals and fractions, the mathematical labyrinth of an urge surging through your knowing, nudging you toward an opening out of which a sound is born. A vibration formed in the exact shape of your ear, a calling that only you can hear, is beckoning you toward a great clearing. Go stand in that field. There, confusion yields to clarity. There, your dream appears in the soft cradle of your hands. But how do you hold a dream? It's such a fragile thing, entrusted to your care. You must first press it to your heart and let it anchor there. Let it practice expanding and contracting. Let it meander between shallow and depth until it gathers the breadth of experience necessary to inspire. Then you introduce it to spark and watch it make fire. Warm yourself in that glow. Bow a branch to that flame and take up your torch, sweet leader. The world needs your light. Within you, it must blaze, for you are going to need it as you traverse the forest of shadow and neuropathway. A thicket of ricochet where the world's undigested pain plays out, manifesting as cerebral malfunction and unshakable doubt, where your dream, once ignited, will be mercilessly put out. And you will be left holding nothing but a fine powder and char, wondering who, what, and where the fuck you are. And this is the part that gets really hard. This is the dark. This is extinguish, where your wishing and your will come to die, where you can't make it happen no matter how hard you try, where you start wondering why you were ever trusted with the keeping of a dream. Well, take heart, dream keeper. The darkness is never what it seems. Breakdown is intrinsic to a dream's unfolding, and your purpose was never to be found in the holding. It was learning how to be held. See, when you're chasing, life will compel you toward its embrace. And if you just bury your face in the chest of what is presented, you will find that dream reinvented in surrender. See, there's a reason dreams can be hard to remember, because to remember is to reassemble the lost pieces of your divine assignment, to revive the profound power of the ground rising up to meet your step as you walk in faith toward destinations unknown. Alone as it may feel, you are never alone. You are surrounded by circumstances standing at the ready to bend themselves toward your every fulfillment if you are willing to occupy your stillness. The voice of the void will rise right on time every time another move asks to be made. You are made in the image of a deep intentionality, an intelligence that forged your personality from the abyss. You have access to those same gifts. You too can manipulate reality by infusing consciousness into materiality. These are the physics of the mystical realm. Your life is the dream, and you are at the helm. She's gonna carry on the Lyndsey.
Lyndsey McGuire, everybody. Close my eyes and I can see a world is waiting up for me that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I lost my mind. But I don't care if they call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, brightest colors fill my head, a million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of all that boy can be, different than the ones I see. A million dreams is all it's gotta take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house that we can build, every room inside it filled with things from far away. Special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. But I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head, a million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be a part of it all. Share your dreams with me. Through the dark, maybe wrong, I wanna bring you along to the world I see. Thank you. To the world I see. Open up your eyes to see. Your eyes to see. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors in my head, million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of all the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make.
This is a song, this is probably my favorite song written by my buddy and employer, Todd Schaefer from Railroad Earth. And I think it just fits this couple very astutely. Yeah, if you want to like, you know, throw in the theme of climate change and all that kind of stuff, it fits too. But this one's called Storms. Soft thunder from across the meadow, rain buckets on the kitchen floor. No letter and the coffer's empty, but all these storms I know will weather. All these storms will ride together. I never dreamed that it would be so hard, girl. Never saved up for a rainy day. Never thought that we might howl and shiver, but all these storms I know will weather. All these storms will ride together. Pick up your heart, my love. Pick up your branch and dove, jamming in the name of the Lord. We've got a home to mend, we've got a fire to tend. We won't let these troubles find us. We've got friends and prayers to mind us. We've got 7 years behind us. A few more actually, right? How many? 12? We've got 12 years behind us. Oh, 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 oh. Long rumble coming across the meadow, rain pouring and the buckets full, the sky cracking and the whole house shaking. But all these storms will ride together. All these storms I know will weather. Pick up your heart, my love. Pick up your branch and dove, jamming in the name of the Lord. My lady, look alive, our ride will soon arrive. Lift up your eyes, my dear, we need some light in here. Jam until the jamming is through. We've got a home to mend, we've got a fight to tend. We won't let these troubles grind us. We got friends and prayers to mind us. We've got heaven's horses bridled. Oh, 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 let it rain. Power Trio. Thank you. Well, the road rolls on like a welcome mat to a better place than the one we're at. I ain't got no kind of plan. I've had all this town I can stand. I got friends out on the coast. We can jump in the water and see what floats. We've been saving for a rainy day. Let's beat the storm, be on our way. It don't matter to me wherever we are, it's where I wanna be. And honey, for once in our lives, let's take our chances and roll the dice. I can be your lucky penny, you can be my four-leaf clover, starting over. This might not be an easy time. There's rivers to cross and hills to climb. Some days we might feel the dark, they might be dark. Some nights might feel cold and we might be apart. Nobody wins afraid of losing, and the hard roads are the ones we're choosing. Some days we look back and smile, know it was worth every mile. It don't matter to me wherever we are, it's where I wanna be. And honey, for once in our lives, let's take our chances and roll the dice. I could be your lucky penny, you could be my four-leaf clover, starting over. Starting over. It don't matter to me wherever we are, it's where I wanna be. And honey, for once in our lives, let's take our chances and roll the dice. I can be your lucky penny, you can be my four-leaf clover, starting over, starting over, starting over, starting over. Thank you all. So it was 2 years ago that we did this the first time. I believe we were celebrating an anniversary?
Yeah, 10 years.
10 years, yeah, that makes sense because we just talked about it being 12. Math. So as we were playing around the other day, we were they're like, okay, so 2 years from now, mark your calendars. You're gonna have to get them back to Colorado and do this again. Or heck, why don't we all go to the Northeast, you know? We'll just rent a bus.
Like the Partridge Family. Yeah, every 2 years.
Yep.
It's a tradition now.
Celebrate Eden getting her period.
So what was that? I didn't know.
All right, we're gonna do a little Neil Young song for you. One of these days, gonna sit down, write a long letter to all the good friends I've known. And I'm gonna try to thank them all for the good times together. Though so apart we grow. One of these days, gonna sit down and write a long letter to all the good friends that I've known. One of these days, one of these days, one of these days, and it won't be long, it won't be long. And I'm gonna thank that old country fiddle and all the rough boys who played that rock and roll. Well, I never tried to burn any bridges, though I know I've had to let some good things go. One of these days, one of these days, to all the good friends I know. One of these days, one of these days, Rocky Mountain home. My friends are scattered like the leaves of a big old maple. Some are weak and some are strong. One of these days, gonna sit down and write a long letter to all the good friends that I've known. One of these days, one of these days, one of these days, and it won't be long, and it won't be long. One of these days, one of these days, one of these days, and it won't be long, and it won't be long.
One of these days,
Oh, one of these days,
one of these
days, one of these days, and it won't be long, and it won't be long.
Okay, I need like a second. Frank and Alex, are you leaving? I'm gonna acknowledge these humans before they leave. I love you. Look at their cute baby. Round of applause for their cute baby. Bye guys, love you. Okay, so I'm gonna read an older poem of mine again. Another poem, and then I'm going to read a couple by a fellow Colorado artist who I adore. And then after that, I'm just giving you the outline of the night. Bridget and Tia are going to come up and play a couple songs, and then we'll do another poem, and then we'll do a couple more songs and dance, and then we can eat and mingle and be merry. So there's your schedule. This poem is called Economy. Whew. 18 tons, 4 or 5 elephants. This is how much weight and food the average human will consume in a 70-year lifespan. This means that if I am graced with old age, then by the time I die, existence will have spent 36,750 pounds of rainfall, sunshine, soil, seed, plant, and creature to keep me alive. So I think it's fair to say that I am indeed in debt. I need a stimulus check to arouse my interest rate. See, I've been spending my time, but not paying much attention to this business of living, to an existence that puts stock in the economy of giving life, even if it is a gift we did not ask for. We were born victims of systems, indebted to bodies made to circulate blood and currency. We are networked through channels, puppeteered by gods behind curtains, and I know nothing in this life is certain but the breath that navigates my lungs, reminding me that I am here. You are here. The lines you see around you point to possible. The weight you feel on your back, that's choice, so move. Lately, I've had a hard time choosing a direction. Been crippled by the stress between my shoulder blades that comes from trying to stretch $1 beyond my wingspan. I've been trying to catch a suntan from the light bulb that appears above my head every time I have a bright idea, but ideas do not pay rent. I would love to purchase a future, but right now my money is spent on getting by. So I'm trying to not get so caught in the highs and lows, and instead relish in the happy medium of art. Because when moving forward starts to feel like I am wading through rocks, I have to remind myself that masterpieces are often chiseled from stone. that David sat alone in darkness before Michelangelo chipped away the marble that brought him to light. I don't know what direction is right, but what I do know is that I am the product of a universe that was willing to spend 36,750 pounds of energy to bring me to life. So today, I made a vow to the sun, as it passed like an offering plate between the hand of the dawn and the dusk, that I too will put something in. That the next time I see daylight grinning in anticipation for the nighttime, I will write that smile like prayer flags across the sky and let my lips flap, thank you. I'll kiss blues from the mouths of saxophones and sing notes that sound something like hope to a world convinced she died a long time ago. I'll go to empty concert halls, tell all the pianos to break a leg before the show so that they spill their keys into our seats, and then I'll unlock our heartbeats to reveal the songs already in our chest. I'll do my best to fly my ass to an ocean, and when I get there, I'll start handing out sand dollars as reminders that we are shells built around stars, and we owe it to ourselves to shine. Often cover other poets, but I would be remiss if I left this state and didn't pay my respects to this wonderful poet whose name is Andrea Gibson. They just released this book, and the first poem in here, they're talking about the first time they went to go see Maya Angelou read and how that turned on something in them that inspired them to go and create poetry and perform it. And when I read that, I was taken aback because that's exactly what Andrea did for me. When I saw them read for the first time, tears, chills, laughter, all the feelings. And I looked at them and I said, I can do that, I'm gonna do that. So, I'm gonna read a couple out of their new book. It's called You Better Be Lightning. Highly recommend. The first poem is called The Year of No Grudges, or instead of writing a furious text, I try a poem. I know most people try hard to do good and find out too late that they should have tried softer. I've never in my whole life been level-headed, but the older I get, I'm more level-hearted. And I think we make gods who look like us for a reason. I think in spite of it all, we trust we can be believed in. When I don't believe in myself, I try to remember I have walked on water like 700 times in Maine in the dead of winter. Where I come from, you can drive a pickup truck from one side of the lake to the other, and people have an unusually high quantity of missing teeth and fingers. But you can still count on them to buy whitening strips and wedding rings, because where I come from, beauty is in the eye of anyone who sees what's missing, but can't stop pointing to what is still there. If there's no definition for love yet, I think that's a good one. I'm writing you, friend, on a day you did me wrong. I'm only half a second outside the furnace of my rage, and I'm trying to focus my attention on all the teeth you still have. The teeth I know you'd happily knock out yourself if it would keep you from biting anyone again. That's how mistakes work if you're loving the right kind of people and you're the right kind of people. You've walked on water so many times, you know grace is super, super slippery. There's literally nothing anyone is more likely to fall from. Some sound advice I give myself like twice an hour. Wear knee pads on the way to your ego, Andrea. Being right is boring. It comforts only the tiniest parts of us, and when it comes to hearts, I want to always be size queen, because that's how I found you. Lifting the spirits of everyone around like a hot air balloon just from the way you burn to be a better person today than you were the day before. Burning to be better is my favorite quality on anyone, and you are on fire, like a gay man's choir rocking the halftime show of a football game. I've been dancing in the end zone since you taught me to start breaking every promise I have made to my pain. Taught me my wounds will never be bigger than I am. Thank goodness for you, champion of the unkillable yes, dandelion refusing to be cut for the bouquet. 5 minutes into our first conversation, you knew I could take a punch better than I could take a compliment, and you talked to me about it only once, and bam, I was angel gossip. There were God rumors spreading in my suddenly unheavied head. I love you because you've never had a mirror face, because the truth is the last thing you would ever try to fake. So sometimes, you look like a human scribble, like a 2-year-old has colored you in, like you have too many feelings to stay inside the lines of your own skin, but that, my friend, is the masterpiece. I love you because we have both showed up to kindness tryouts with notes from the school nurse that said we were too hurt to participate. But we learned how wrong we were, and weren't those the best days? The days we learned how wrong we were, and so got to grow into our goodness, throwing the peach pits of our old selves into the garden to grow sweetness. Sugar, I pick you to be the captain of my chosen family tree. I pick you to throw the party when I leave this world, knowing I'm gonna run death like a stop sign and keep going. I pick you to finish all my half-written poems, even though you suck at writing poetry. I pick you to finish this one especially, which is basically just a list of compliments you'd be a hypocrite not to take, so take it. Before I remember, I'm mad at you, asshole. Butt knuckle, not wad. Only human on earth who knows exactly what I mean when I say God. I mean everyone down here who understands why when I get to heaven, I will refuse to call it heaven if the people I love who put me through hell aren't there. A couple more out of here because they're just that good, and then I'll let Bridget and Tiara come up here just a little promise. Pardon me. It's fine. It's fine. All right, so I was sort of tickled by this one because if you've ever suffered with low self-esteem or beat yourself up or any of that stuff, this speaks to that. It's written in the form of a letter. It's called To Whom It Definitely Concerns. Please accept this letter as a formal notification that I am resigning from the position of my own worst enemy. I've appreciated the opportunity to lower my standards so far they could win a limbo contest against a crumb. I've been honored to serve as the server at the banquet where I eat myself alive. The day I was hired, I could have never imagined how many Employee of the Month plaques I'd acquire from breaking the standing record for standing in my own way. In this position, I've grown continuously, like bacteria in a staph infection. I had no idea that holding myself back would be contagious. I would like to have a different kind of impact on the future company I keep. The scene I made during our last team building exercise woke me to the need for a change. I know the young people in the office are still shaken by my refusal to catch myself in the trust ball. I apologize for that glory display. Moving forward, I'll be pursuing opportunities in another field, preferably one where break rooms are for resting and not for breaking promises to the person I hope to become. I fully intend to replace whatever dreams I shattered when I was beating myself up. I have no idea where I learned punching in was a literal term. If I had known better, I would have called in sick in the head. I accepted this position initially because I believe it came with the very best insurance plan. How could I fall to my death from the ground floor? Over the years, however, I've gotten increasingly familiar with the fine print of the benefits. Turns out, there are no benefits when the copay is your life. I understand it's customary to give 2 weeks notice, but I've only got 2 minutes, and in those 2 minutes, I will 1, fire my inner critic or at least demote it to part-time. 2, assure my passions have the tools they need to unionize with my actions. 3, sit naked on the photocopy machine so there are 100 copies of my ass to kiss when I'm gone. Though I suspect it won't bode well for acquiring a positive referral letter, it's important to state that I'm unwilling to train a replacement in this position. It is my suggestion that the job be eliminated altogether and that no future person take on the task. If I can aid in the transition, please let me know. Sincerely. And the last one from Andrea. If she ever sees this, thank you, Andrea, I love you. It's a sad one. It's called The Last Hours. We've been dating only 2 weeks when the phone rings in the middle of the night. I beg every light green on my way to her house, and the grief gods answer. When I reach her, she is curled up in the garden. The earth is under her nails, as if she's just discovered something that could have fed the whole world wasn't harvested in time. She says nothing for almost a half an hour, then whispers, "My grandpa died." The moon flickers out like a candle. Our second date was a walk through a neighborhood where the porches were bigger than both of our homes combined. Does it thrill you or crush you to know no one inside is more grateful than us? I would have asked if I hadn't known the answer, if the answer wasn't the reason I loved her already. Because that night was the first time my eyes weren't too shy to look directly at her face. I finally noticed the gap in her teeth on Mapleton Street, beside a house shaped like a wedding cake. My grandparents have been married for 63 years, she told me, and a door in the center of her smile opened to a tiny Midwest church in 1944. At the end of the aisle, 2 kids, too young to know anything, were promising each other everything. Now tonight, this simple garden is its own church as she tells me about the last hours of her grandfather's life. He was in bed, she says. My grandma was sitting beside him, holding his hand. He said the word, love. Then a few minutes later, he said it again, and he kept saying it. Love, love, love. Over and over for hours. He said it for hours, and then kissed my grandma goodbye. There are enough tears between us to pull a redwood tree out of a nettle seed, or to water the garden beneath us for a century. 6 years from now, we will kiss for the last time. 7 years from now, we will take our first walk together as friends. 8 years from now, a bicycle accident will shatter her 2 front teeth, and I'll beg her to not let the dentist fill the gap. She won't listen, but the door to the church will stay open anyway. Each time she smiles, a bouquet of wildflowers will fly from her grandmother's 22-year-old hand and move through the air in slow motion, trying to find a way to land in the arms of the whole world. I've written so many poems in my life, and every single one of them was just trying to find a better way to say what one soul said to another soul with one word. Isn't it amazing that I came up so short? Isn't it everything that I tried so hard and failed to write a single thing more beautiful than love? So I'm gonna let
Some ideas, but what kind of mood are you guys in? You want to be romantic and like Latin-y, or do we want to go like Arabian belly dancer style?
Call it. Belly dancing.
No. What was that? Belly dancing? Okay. We're gonna do 2 songs, so, and then we also have like the crazy Roma gypsy vibe. All right, you guys are really helpful.
I still think we should do it.
He thinks we should play the same song we played 2 years ago, but I'm vetoing that. How does anybody else feel?
We were all here and we remember.
Why don't you play the 2 you were thinking and then add that one in there?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's a love song.
It's so beautiful. They played it at their wedding. They were looking at each other. It was so
All right, great.
It's hard. Rock is a hard song playing on the guitar. It really is. It's hard. But I'll totally do it for you.
You can do it.
Yeah.
I kind of want to be able to access my, I think, yeah. Push that thing. Thank you. It's like the pedal, there we go. That's all I need. I mean, yeah, that's fine. I'm messing up Lyndsey's station. That's a no-no, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So he asked me to braid his hair tonight, but I was just like too busy thinking how hot he was with his down. I was like videotaping him with the whole foods. This is my husband. And then he does that, and I'm like, yeah, I chose so well, thank you.
Oh, one more note. After this ends, because it's probably going to be sad, we don't need to applaud or do anything. I would like to honestly just kind of sit for a minute and just like let the music and the poem breathe and let me recover a little bit. Just a minute. I know it can be awkward. If it feels too awkward, you can close your eyes and pretend you're not here. But I just want it to sit, and it's gonna just need to sit for a second. So that's okay. The hardest part about growing up in Indiana is that the perspective there is literally flat. It is encumbered by automation, fast food, corner gas stations, and corn. There, being born again is a process that, though available to all, has been kidnapped by a particular kind of Christian who won't hesitate to tell you via billboard that you are going to hell. So I did what any good Christian girl would do. I fell in love with a Jew. I liked that he was unsure. I liked the way he wondered, so much so that I followed him up the I-70 corridor toward Frisco. The plains exalted behind us like an effigy of the people we were before the mountains burned themselves into our skin. I spent my sweet young adulthood with him, watching the snow fall from our front porch, watching the skiers and snowboarders carving the slopes between the openings of trees, their descent, the purest form of glee I'd seen. In the high country, I learned mud tongue. It's the language of spring. Boots to soggy ground. After serving the season's last round of tourists, I'd take to hiking alone. Snowmelt catapulting down continental backbone. Here, the origin of river. Here, under the electric dome of sky, I found home. Toes to tundra, a sun insistent in its shine. Meadows awash in the beatitudes of Columbine. A canvas of blush, alpenglow and Indian paintbrush, each sunset a sacrament, each dawn bumbling toward daylight like a fawn on unsteady legs, time running laps around the soft collapse of that love I'd left the cornfields for. I was born again in Boulder, rose from the cold shoulder of a breakup like an eager pair of wings, my heart singing songs of search until he perched at my breakfast table and told me with a smile that he liked how I said biscuit. Aisles later, I became his bride, our love unbridled. Wild nights on Pine Street where our friends always had a seat at our table, where we built families of misfits who had fled East Coast and Midwestern homes in search of their people. We found our people here, gentle of spirit, the lost tribe of our past lives reclaiming its constellation, the sensation of belonging, giving way to that hot afternoon we conceived our first child, her soul leaping from the wild grasses into my womb. 9 moons later, eyes blinking beauty back at me, her cheeks freckled with galaxy and the subtle scent of sage. Seasons turn the pages of my life from wife to mother of 2. Bright recollections of the fields my children toddled through, a band of buddies at their hips, their lips fumbling through the first utterances of our language. Mountain, sky, friend, dragonfly. Like reeds grown waist high, they climbed further and further out of infancy. The foothills, logging our history in wind whip and whisper, love's mystery weaving as it does what came to pass between what was. Deep friendships, scripted on aspen leaves, glowing gold with the staying power of centuries. When I die, burn me in Colorado. Wrap me in a shroud of love and let my ashes soar above the San Luis. Let my spirit tangle with the owls and pine trees, and there I'll be, chasing foxtails in the breeze, becoming poetry. Made it. Oh god, I wish I could just freeze this moment in time. We're gonna end on a higher note. We're gonna invite Jake and Kevin and Lee back up to do a song, and then we're gonna have one more party song at the end. Thank you guys.
Completely different. You're up.
Somebody in. Last thing I heard.
This is the part about them being really good sports. You're good.
Yeah, okay. All right. Just try to be a little less snotty here.
Make it live. Make it live. I'll make it live.
With any of these last two, definitely, like, feel free to, if you know it, you know. Sing.
Dance.
Yeah.
You can dance if you want to. You can leave your friend.
If you have to, if you must. If you must. All right, let's close it out with an obscure number from the
early 2000s, late
90s.
90s, 1998-ish, circa 1998. Close your eyes, picture a world where baggy jeans and flannel shirts and slow internet were still a thing.
Live in the mountains, it's the same.
Besides the internet, it's still the same.
They made up their mind, they started packing. Left before the sun came up that day. And exit to eternal summer stacking. Where were they going without ever knowing the way? They drank up the wine, they got to talking. Now and more important things to say. When the car broke down, they started walking. Where were they going without ever knowing the way? Yeah.
swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you. Lyndsey, Josh, we hate that you're leaving, but thanks for bringing us all here together tonight. We love you.
That concludes our musical presentation. Feel free to mingle. We have the place till 9:30, 10. So, eat, be gay.